Let's go, Wild Tim. Where's that?
Do you want to go this way?
Where's the seat? Let's see next fight. Next fight now. I don't want to see it. Boom. Yeah,
why don't you wait. Let's just wait until the end of the
so wait. Yeah! I love it. Come on, Wild Tim.
He was knocked down, he was flattened against the ropes. Multiple times the ropes kept him on his feet. We were worried about him. We thought the worst was that to happen. You know what I mean? He was certainly badly concussed. As far as the images that got leaked, let me clear this. I didn't leak no images. The image I leaked and the image I released, the only image I released was the original one where my hands were behind my back. And that was in response to the comment where he said, he went on a big quote, and one of the comments in the quote was, "I will beat him with one hand tied behind my back." So I released one picture with me whooping his ass with both hands behind my back. And then he just got out of there and went running. And I don't know. I mean, I don't mind Paulie. He came in. He spoke a hell of a game previous. Very disrespectful to the skill set. Very disrespectful to the discipline. But no matter what a man says, if they show up and try to answer that and try their best, you've got to give respect, and that's what happened. He showed up, he tried his best. It didn't go his way, he got his ass whooped, he got his pride dented, and then he wanted a way out. What better way for a guy like him to exit under a load of questions and mysterious, you know what I mean? So, under a load of questions. So.
And that's it. So.
Round one is in the books for McGregor.
No, he doesn't really believe those things. You have to understand the psychology. This is the first time ever Floyd has been in a spot where he wasn't favored to beat a guy. Everybody is expecting Floyd to go out and not only dominate this fight, but get him out of there in 1 or 2 rounds. Floyd is starting to feel that. It's an unusual spot for him where he's looking and going, hey guys, I appreciate that you all have faith in me, but you've got a little bit too much. How about we go out there and 2 men go out and have a contest? These are the intangibles, because what Teddy and I are watching right now is an amateur boxer getting ready to take on the best of all time. But the intangibles do matter.
That is a pretty stark characterization. An amateur boxer getting ready to take on a guy that could be 50-0 by the time the month is out. Alberto Komodo has been on the scene all day. We've moved to Station 3. Couple action in the ring. Then we've hit the bag twice. He's there, boots on the ground. His eyes are closer than any of us. Brett, what are you seeing right now with your 2 eyes there?
Yeah, from a technical standpoint, I think Chael and Teddy have really outlined a lot of what's going through my mind. I mean, obviously, one thing I told you, Zubin, is that I expected him to be in amazing shape, and I know that that's very, very crucial to him. I mean, that's been crucial really throughout his career, especially after he lost to Nate Diaz last year. He felt that he was very inefficient with his energy, is what he said. That fight was at 170 pounds when it was supposed to be at 155 pounds. So just looking at him physically, and this has not surprised me at all. I knew all along that Conor McGregor would do everything in his power to get as prepared as is humanly possible to face Floyd Mayweather. But everything that you're hearing from the 2 experts there about the technique, I would have to agree with.
Eddie, I want to ask you this because you have been in the corner. You have trained some of the guys that basically ate pressure for lunch, and Chael has talked about what a performer this guy is under pressure. For those of us that are just fans, that haven't been in the corner, that haven't been in the ring, can you explain the intangible of the mental side of something like this and the pressure with the world watching? Not the physical, the mental.
There's a mental part, and he's right on the button talking about the mental part. My UFC counterpart there. 75% of the game, all right? There it is. 75% of my business, my sport, is the mental part. And McGregor has been in that realm. You know, he has been in that environment. He's been under the big lights. And the most important part, what does that mean mentally being right? What does that mean having the mental edge that you have to be a championship fighter in whatever, whether it's boxing or UFC? What it means is that you have to understand, you have to be able to push the wolf away from the door. The wolf of submission. The wolf of where you feel like breaking down. The wolf where you feel like giving in. Where you don't think that you can find the way. Where you start to make excuses. Where you're not reliable. Where you start to give in. Where the normal person, the person out there, the layman person, they can do that. They can give in. They can still go to work the next day. They give in, they say they're sick. And the next day they can still show up at work and it might not hurt their career. But in the boxing ring, you cannot do that. That's called the chamber of truth. And the truth will find you fast. So he understands what it means to be tempted by those hard truths. He understands what it means for the wolf to come to the door, for the devil to knock on the door and say, hey, you know what? You can get out of here. You know, it's not human nature to face what these guys face. The natural thing to do is to survive. Let's be honest. That's why we've been around as a race so long. We find ways to survive. But when you're in the ring and that natural instinct comes to you to say, hey, I wanted to survive. I want to be able to get out of this so I can be okay, so I can survive. When that comes, you have to be able to shut it down. That's not normal. Regular people don't have to do that. But people that fight for a living, that face the things that people like Mayweather and McGregor face for a living, they have to have the mindset to be able to do that. Listen, don't ever think they don't feel like we feel. They feel scared. They feel like giving everything. That's it. I hold no regrets. You know, if I'd done it again, what I would do differently is I'd have pressure fighters coming at me. Okay. In the camp, we had fighters in the Philly shell, similar to the style that he always fights, or fighters against the ropes, but never fighters. Well, we did have fighters coming forward, like with that style, the way he eventually went, but that was only in the early rounds. Early rounds, I'm eating guys alive there. It's when I get tired, that's when I need to bring in that fresh body who's going to sit on my chest and let shots fly. And if I'd done that, that alone would have made that the easiest fight of my life. Because make no mistake, Carl, up until like round 5, that was the easiest fight in my life. I could see everything he was throwing. I was cracking him easily. It was only when I started fading and he started leaning on me and started coming forward in that Mexican style that I started to fade. And that's it, so. That's what I would do differently. I'd have people come pressure me when I'm tired instead of early. So.
Well, you're always pushing the boundaries with the training and the techniques that you're using. You're at the UFC High Performance Center. You know, we saw you sort of running underwater on treadmills, doing all this crazy stuff. Is there anything from this training camp that you can take into your UFC training camps now, sort of new skills that you learn?
I built an incredible engine. Make no mistake about that. Although 30 minutes is, I went 25 minutes, I got into the best shape of my life. So I'm just going to keep going with it, And then also know that, like in this camp, it was like round 1 to 8 was the fight. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 was my friends, more people I'm comfortable with, just to get to the 12th round. Because I had to get to the 12th round in sparring comfortably and safely. And if I'd done it too early, I could have picked up an injury, lost out on the fight, lost out on the whole event, and hampered everything. So that was the goal. This time, I'd probably switch it around. I'd have round 1 to 8 heavy, real competitive, and then I just have a heavier opponent on me, putting the pressure for the last 4 rounds, and I just have to survive in there. And I honestly, truly feel if I'd have done that, I would have been laughing in that fight. But look, you live and learn. That's what we say. You don't lose. You either win or you learn.
Yeah, and that saying has taken you well through your career so far. We have some water, please.
Look. Nah, vodka and orange. Look that.
I'm squeezed into this suit. I got this suit fitted about a couple of months ago, and I'm squeezing into it now.
Is this one of the McGregor Augusto?
Yeah, this is
suits?
an August McGregor line. It looks like the tartan for the Scots. You know what I mean? I was thinking about that. That's what